Captain Elias Vega had seen many strange things in his life. He had traveled across stars, fought battles in space, and faced dangers that most people could not even imagine. But nothing prepared him for what he found that night. The starship Aurora was drifting silently through the dark space near the edge of a distant galaxy. Elias stood on the bridge, looking out through the large windows at the glittering stars. His crew was quiet, tense after a long mission chasing rumors of an enemy fleet. Suddenly, the ship's sensors picked up something unexpected. "Captain, we have a life form on board," the ship's AI said in a calm, mechanical voice. Elias frowned. "Where? We are alone. Unknown origin. Location cargo hold unconscious." He frowned deeper. "How did it get here?" "We didn't scan any ships nearby." The AI answered. "Unknown. Possibly stowaway." Elias sighed and walked toward the cargo hold. When he arrived, he saw something he never thought he would see in his life. There, lying on the cold metal floor, was a tall figure wrapped in a glowing silver cloak. Her skin was a pale blue and her long hair shimmered like liquid starlight. She was beautiful and strange. Her chest rose and fell slowly. She was alive but unconscious. "Is she dangerous?" Elias asked the AI. "Unknown. She does not respond to stimuli." Elias looked at the alien woman with curiosity and a little worry. He had heard stories about alien queens, leaders of powerful species who controlled whole worlds. Was this one of them? He felt a strange pull to protect her, but also a warning voice in his mind telling him to be careful. "Get a medical team here. I want her examined and secured," Elias ordered. As the medical team arrived, Elias stepped back and watched. The chief medic, Dr. Lena Morales, examined the queen carefully. "She is breathing normally but very weak. No signs of injury, but something is keeping her unconscious." Elias nodded. "Can she be moved safely?" "Yes, but we should be careful. We don't know her biology." The alien queen was carefully lifted and taken to the ship's medical bay. Elias returned to the bridge, his mind racing with questions. Who was she? Why was she on his ship? And what would happen next? That night, Elias could not sleep. He kept thinking about the alien queen lying in the medical bay. Something about her was different. The ship's AI had also started monitoring her closely and showed no signs of hostility. It even suggested keeping her alive to learn more about her species. Suddenly, the ship's alarms rang loudly. Elias rushed to the bridge. "Captain, we have detected a fleet approaching fast," the AI warned. "Enemy ships?" Elias asked sharply. "Unknown, possibly sent to find the queen." Elias knew he had little time. Prepare the ship for defense. Get the crew ready. But deep down, he also knew this was no ordinary prisoner. The queen was key to something bigger, something he was about to face head-on. Hours passed in tense silence. Elias stayed by the medical bay, watching the queen's breathing. Then, as the first rays of a distant star touched the ship's hull, her eyes slowly opened. They were deep, shining with a strange light. She looked at Elias with calm but powerful eyes. "You saved me," she said softly, her voice clear but foreign. Elias stepped back, surprised to hear her speak in perfect galactic common. "Why are you here?" he asked. "I fled my world to survive," she said. "They want me dead." Elias studied her carefully. "Who wants you dead?" "The Zelnar," she whispered. "They destroyed my people. I'm the last hope." Elias felt a strong responsibility settle on his shoulders. This alien queen, this mysterious woman, had trusted him, and now her survival depended on his protection. "Then you stay here," Elias said firmly. "I will keep you safe." She nodded, a faint smile touching her lips. For the first time since the mission began, Elias felt a strange hope rising inside him. The alien queen had rested beside the human, and now, their fates were tied together in ways neither could understand. The morning light filtered through the small windows of the medical bay. Captain Elias Vega sat quietly beside the alien queen's bed, watching her. Silara, as she had introduced herself, was still weak but awake now. Her pale blue skin had a faint glow in the soft light. Her eyes, deep and bright, held a mix of sadness and strength that Elias could not ignore. "Can you eat?" Elias asked gently, holding a small tray with some food. Silara looked at the tray and shook her head slowly. "Our bodies are different," she said softly. "I do not need food like you do." Elias frowned but nodded. He was learning quickly that this queen was not just another alien. She was something unique. "The ship's AI says you need energy," he said. "Maybe we can find something for you." Silara smiled faintly. There is a way, but it is different. Elias waited patiently, curious. She took a deep breath. When I rest beside someone I trust, my body shares energy with theirs. It is how we heal and grow strong. Elias raised an eyebrow. Rest beside me? Yes, she said quietly. It is the tradition of my people. It is how we connect. The idea was strange to Elias, but he did not feel fear or anger. Instead, he felt something warm inside, a feeling of trust. That night, after the crew had gone to their quarters, Elias returned to the medical bay. Solara lay on the bed, looking calm. I am ready, she said. Elias hesitated but nodded. He sat beside her, careful not to touch her at first. Slowly, Solara reached out and their hands met. A soft light seemed to glow where their skin touched. Elias felt a strange warmth spread through his body. It was not like anything he had ever felt before. It was calming, and at the same time it made him feel alive. Solara's breathing slowed and a peaceful smile crossed her face. Elias stayed beside her, watching the gentle rise and fall of her chest. When morning came, Solara opened her eyes and looked at Elias with a new strength. Thank you, she whispered. Elias smiled. I think this is the start of something new. Over the next few days, Elias and Solara grew closer. She shared stories of her world, a beautiful planet called Zira, full of glowing forests and endless skies. She told him about her people, the Zyrans, who were known for their wisdom and their power to connect through energy. But she also told him about the Zelnar, the ruthless enemy who had destroyed her home and hunted her across the stars. The Zelnar were a warlike species, strong and cruel, and they wanted to capture Solara to control the last of the Ziran power. Elias listened carefully. He realized that Solara was more than a survivor. She was a leader, a symbol of hope for her people, and now, that hope was on his ship. The ship's sensors soon detected the Zelnar fleet approaching. Elias prepared his crew for battle, but he also worked with Solara to find another way. Solara showed him a device from her people, a small crystal that could create a powerful energy shield, but it needed a human connection to work. Elias offered his hand. Together they activated the device. A shimmering shield spread across the aurora, protecting it from the first attack. The crew cheered and Elias felt proud. Human strength combined with alien technology was a force to be reckoned with. Days turned into weeks. The bond between Elias and Solara deepened. Every night, Solara rested beside Elias, drawing strength from their connection. Elias learned to trust her completely, and she trusted him in return. One evening, Solara looked at Elias and said, Our bond is more than survival. It is the future. Elias nodded, feeling the truth in her words. Humanity was stronger than he had ever imagined, especially when it reached out to others. But even as they planned for peace, the threat of the Zelnar remained. The enemy was patient and powerful, waiting for a chance to strike again. Elias knew this was only the beginning. But with Solara by his side, he was ready for whatever came next. Together, they would face the stars and the dangers beyond with courage and hope. The stars outside the ship looked peaceful, but Captain Elias Vega knew it was just silence before the storm. It had been 13 nights since the alien queen Solara arrived on the aurora. Every night she rested beside Elias, and every morning she grew stronger. Her glow returned, her voice became clearer and her steps more powerful. The bond between her and Elias deepened quietly. It was not romantic in a loud way, but there was something real building between them. Trust, warmth, and something neither of them could name. Elias had never experienced anything like it. Solara was not just another alien. She was a queen, a symbol of what her people had lost. And now somehow she was finding that lost strength again on his human ship, beside a human captain. But the Zelnar weren't far. The ship's AI confirmed it. 3 enemy scout ships had entered the system. They were moving slowly but directly toward the aurora. Elias stood in the command room with his officers. The atmosphere was tense. They're scanning us, said Commander Rivas, Elias's second in command. They're searching for her. They know she's alive, Elias said quietly. The crew didn't speak. They had all seen Solara's power. Many of them had come to respect her. Some even feared her. But they trusted their captain more. What's the plan? Rivas asked. Elias turned to Solara, who stood nearby with her arms crossed calmly. Can they track your energy? Yes, she said. When I am awake and strong, my presence creates waves that the Zelnar can follow. Then we can't keep hiding, Elias said. We have to face them, but not without a plan. That night, as usual, Silera and Elias rested beside each other. Their connection was stronger now. Elias could feel her thoughts more clearly. Not words, but feelings. Her fear, her hope, her deep sorrow for what had been lost. And through it all, her quiet admiration for Elias. I never thought I would trust a human, she said softly. Elias chuckled. Most humans don't trust aliens either. But you are different, she continued. You listen. You fight for more than power. That is rare in the galaxy. Elias turned to look at her. You said the Zelnar destroyed your home. Why didn't your people fight back? We did, she said, her voice low. But we were too peaceful for too long. We forgot how to fight. We believed in knowledge, connection, and peace. The Zelnar believed in war, control, and fear. They were faster, Elias understood. Humanity had seen similar times. History on Earth was full of empires rising and falling, peaceful people being crushed by stronger enemies, until someone stood up and said, "No more." We'll fight, Elias said firmly. But we'll fight smart. The next morning, the plan was set. The Aurora would send out a false signal, pretending Silera had escaped on a small shuttle. Meanwhile, the real Silera would remain hidden deep inside the ship's protected core, surrounded by energy-blocking fields. The humans would face the Zelnar directly, not with size but with strategy. The plan worked at first. The Zelnar ships followed the false trail. The crew celebrated. But the celebration didn't last long. One of the scout ships broke away from the chase and turned back. Somehow it had seen through the trick. They're coming straight at us, the AI warned. Elias gave the order, prepare for battle. The enemy ship arrived fast and fired without warning. The Aurora shook as explosions rocked its sides. But Elias and his crew were ready. They fired back with precision, using the new shield Silera had helped them build. The shield held strong and the enemy ship was forced to retreat. But the message was clear. The Zelnar wouldn't stop. After the battle, Silera joined Elias in the command room. Her face was calm, but her eyes were troubled. They're testing your strength, she said. They want to see how far you will go to protect me. I'll go as far as it takes, Elias replied. She looked at him, quiet for a moment. Then she said, there is another way. My people left behind a secret, a power hidden in a place only I can reach. If I can get there, I can end this. Why haven't you told me before? Elias asked. Because it is dangerous, and I wasn't sure I could trust anyone to help me get there. But now you do? Yes, she said softly. Now I do, Elias nodded. Then we go together. They stood side by side, a human and an alien queen looking out at the stars. Ahead of them was danger, yes, but also a chance to change everything. And that night, when Silera rested beside the human once more, the bond between them burned brighter than ever before. The journey to the hidden place was not easy. The Aurora traveled through a dangerous part of space, full of debris and shifting asteroids. Elias watched the stars blur past the ship's windows, thinking about what Silera had just told him. Her people had left behind a secret power, hidden somewhere in the galaxy, waiting to be found. It was a hope for survival, but also a risk. If the Zelnar found it first, everything would be lost. Silera sat beside Elias in the command room, her face calm but serious. This place is called the Heart of Zira, she explained. It is where our energy comes from, the source of our strength. If I can reach it, I can protect my people and yours. Elias nodded slowly. We will do whatever it takes. The closer they got, the more dangerous the journey became. The Zelnar were still hunting them, sending small ships to block their path and gather information. One night, while the ship drifted near a dense asteroid field, the alarms suddenly blared. Multiple enemy ships detected, the AI warned. Elias sprang into action, barking orders to the crew. Defensive positions. Ready weapons. Silera stood beside him, calm but alert. I will help, she said quietly. Together they coordinated the defense. Silera's knowledge of Zelnar tactics and technology helped the crew anticipate attacks. The Aurora fought hard, dodging enemy fire and striking back with precision. In the chaos, Elias realized how much stronger they were together, human courage and alien wisdom combined. After the battle, Selara turned to Elias. "We cannot keep fighting like this," she said. "I need to reach the heart of Zira soon before they find us again." Elias agreed. "Then we must move fast." The ship finally arrived near a strange planet glowing faintly in the dark. Selara's eyes brightened. "This is it," she said softly. "The heart of Zira." The planet was covered in blue forests that shimmered under the light of 3 moons. Strange crystals grew from the ground, pulsing with energy. Elias and Selara landed the Aurora on a smooth clearing. Together they stepped out, feeling the powerful energy in the air. Selara led Elias toward a tall stone structure in the center of the clearing. It was covered in glowing symbols and looked ancient. "This is the gateway," she said. "Only one with the blood of Zira can open it." Elias watched as Selara placed her hand on the stone. The symbols glowed brighter, and a soft hum filled the air. Suddenly the gateway opened, revealing a shimmering tunnel of light. Selara looked at Elias. "This is where I must go alone." "No," Elias said quickly. "You don't have to do this by yourself." Selara smiled sadly. "I trust you, but this journey is mine alone. The heart will test me. Only if I succeed will our people survive." Elias hesitated but understood. "Be careful." She stepped into the tunnel and disappeared. Elias waited outside, the air thick with silence. Minutes felt like hours. Then the tunnel glowed again, and Selara returned looking stronger and more radiant than before. "The heart accepted me," she said. "I have its power now." Elias felt a surge of hope. "Then we can defeat the Zelnar." Suddenly the ship's alarms blared again. The enemy fleet had arrived. "This is it," Elias said, gripping the controls. "We fight for everything." The battle was fierce. The Aurora took heavy damage, but Selara used her new power to create shields and energy blasts. Elias led the crew with skill and bravery. Together they turned the tide. The Xelnar ships retreated, leaving the Aurora battered but victorious. After the fight, Selara rested beside Elias, her strength returning with each moment. "We did it," she whispered. Elias smiled. "We did, and this is just the beginning." The bond between the alien queen and the human captain was no longer just a strange connection. It was a symbol of hope. 2 species, once strangers, now united against a common enemy. And every night, as Selara rested beside Elias, their bond grew deeper, stronger, promising a future where humans and aliens could stand together. The Aurora was no longer the calm, silent ship it had been when Elias first found Selara. Now it thrummed with energy and tension. Every corner of the ship seemed charged with the promise of battle and the hope of survival. Selara, the alien queen, moved with renewed strength, but the weight of leadership rested heavily on her shoulders. Elias watched her quietly from the command room. She had changed since the heart of Zira had accepted her. Her blue skin seemed brighter, and her eyes held a fierce determination. But beneath that, Elias sensed a deep worry. The power she had gained was great, but the cost was unknown. "We need a plan," Elias said. "The Zelnar will return. They won't give up." Selara nodded. "They are patient like the dark. They wait for weakness." Elias thought about their crew, about his people, humans who were strong but outnumbered. "We have technology, strategy, and your power. We can make a stand." "Then we must make it a good one," Selara said softly. Over the next days, the crew worked hard. Engineers repaired the ship's shields, weapons were upgraded, and battle drills became part of daily life. Elias and Selara met often, planning and training together. But there was something else growing between them, not just the bond of survival, but something deeper. Every night Selara rested beside Elias, and the connection between them grew stronger. They shared more than energy now. They shared thoughts, hopes, and fears. It was a connection neither fully understood but both trusted. One evening, after a long day of preparations, Selara approached Elias in the command room. "There is something I must tell you," she said quietly. Elias looked at her, curious. "My power from the heart is strong," she began, "but it is tied to my bond with you. Without it I would weaken quickly." Elias nodded slowly. "Then we keep the bond strong." "Yes," she said, "but there is more. The bond affects us both. I can feel your strength and your pain. When we are apart, I feel weaker." Elias was surprised. "I feel it too. It's like you are a part of me now." Selara smiled faintly. "It is the way of my people. Our bonds are not just physical. They connect minds and hearts. Elias reached out and took her hand. Then we face this together. Their growing closeness did not go unnoticed. The crew began to see Solara not as an alien queen to be feared, but as a leader to follow. Morale improved. Humans and aliens began to trust one another more, united by a common cause. But the threat of the Zelnar remained. One day, the ship's sensors detected a large fleet approaching fast. "They are coming," the AI said. Elias called the crew together. "This is it. The fight for our survival." The battle was brutal. The Zelnar ship surrounded the Aurora, firing powerful energy blasts. The Aurora shook, systems failing one by one. Solara stood at Elias's side in the command room, her hands glowing with the energy from the heart of Zira. She unleashed powerful shields, blocking enemy attacks and sending waves of energy back at the enemy ships. Elias coordinated the crew, moving the ship skillfully and directing counterattacks. He was calm but focused, his connection with Solara helping him see the battle in new ways. Despite the odds, the Aurora fought hard. Slowly, the Zelnar ships began to retreat. When the battle ended, the ship was badly damaged but alive. The crew cheered, exhausted but victorious. Solara turned to Elias, her eyes shining. "We survived." Elias smiled, feeling a deep pride. "Because we fight as one." That night, as Solara rested beside Elias, their bond felt stronger than ever. They had faced death together and come through it. But Elias knew the war was not over. The Zelnar would return stronger and more determined. They needed more than strength and power. They needed hope. And hope, Elias realized, was something humans and aliens could give each other. The Aurora drifted in the calm space between stars, but the quiet was temporary. Captain Elias Vega knew this peace would not last long. The battle against the Zelnar had been won for now, but the war was far from over. Solara sat beside Elias in the command room, her eyes watching the stars beyond the windows. Her skin still shimmered faintly with the energy from the heart of Zira, but she looked tired. The bond between them was strong, but it drained both of them. "We need allies," Elias said softly. "We cannot fight the Zelnar alone." Solara nodded. "My people once had friends among other species. Many have forgotten us, but some remember." Elias leaned forward. "Can we find them? Can they help us?" Solara smiled faintly. "There is one place, the Council of Worlds. It is where leaders from many planets meet. If they hear our story, they may join us." Elias's heart lifted. "Then we go there." The journey was long, but the Aurora moved steadily toward the Council's meeting place, a massive space station orbiting a bright star. The crew worked hard to prepare for the important meeting. Elias and Solara practiced their story, hoping to inspire the leaders. When they arrived, the space station was grand and full of life. Different species from across the galaxy moved through its halls. Elias felt a mix of hope and nervousness. In the great hall, leaders sat on raised platforms, their faces curious but cautious. Elias stood with Solara before them and began to speak. "We come with a warning," Elias said clearly. "The Zelnar are not just our enemy. They threaten all who seek peace." Solara continued. "I am Solara, last queen of the Zyran people. My world was destroyed by the Zelnar. I have the power to stop them, but I cannot do it alone." The leaders listened carefully. Some whispered among themselves. Others watched with interest. One leader, a tall being with shimmering silver skin, spoke. "Your story is compelling, but the Zelnar are powerful. Why should we risk war for your people?" Elias looked directly at the council. "Because if the Zelnar win, no one will be safe. They seek control over all worlds," Solara added. "Together we can stop them. We must unite." The council debated for hours. Finally, a vote was called. Slowly, one by one, planets agreed to join the fight. Elias and Solara felt hope grow stronger. They had found allies, but the celebration was short. The Zelnar had spies among the council, and news of their plan reached the enemy quickly. As the Aurora prepared to leave, alarms sounded. The station was under attack. Chaos erupted. The Zelnar fleet appeared outside, firing powerful beams. Elias shouted orders. "Defend the station! Protect the council!" Solara's energy flared brightly as she created shields around the leaders. The battle was fierce. The council's ships joined the fight, and together they pushed back the Zelnar. In the midst of the fight, Elias saw Solara falter, her energy flickering. He moved to her side, reaching out to strengthen their bond. Hold on, he urged. We need you. She nodded weakly, drawing strength from him. The battle raged for hours, but the united forces held strong. The Zelnar retreated, leaving the station damaged but safe. After the fight, Elias and Solara stood before the council again. We must prepare, Solara said. This war will last, but together we have a chance. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. We will face it side by side. That night, Solara rested beside Elias as always. Their bond was no longer just a secret connection. It was the foundation of a new alliance between worlds. Together, they were more than a captain and a queen. They were a symbol of hope for the galaxy. The war against the Zelnar was reaching its climax. The alliance that Captain Elias Vega and Queen Solara had built was strong, but the enemy was relentless. The Aurora had become a symbol of hope, a beacon for those who believed peace could win in the darkest corners of space. The final battle was planned near the Zelnar homeworld, a dark, cold planet surrounded by swirling storms and jagged moons. The Alliance fleet gathered, thousands of ships from many species ready to fight for survival. Elias stood on the bridge of the Aurora, looking out at the fleet and the planet beyond. Solara was beside him, calm but focused. Her blue skin glowed softly with the power of the heart of Zira, her connection to Elias as strong as ever. We've come far, Elias said quietly. Solara nodded. And now we finish what we started. The enemy fleet appeared on the horizon like a shadow. Thousands of ships moved forward, their weapons blazing. The battle began with a roar. Explosions lit the darkness of space as ships fought fiercely. The Aurora weaved through enemy fire, with Elias commanding the crew like a true leader. Solara stood at the front of the ship, her hands glowing with energy. She raised her arms, sending powerful waves of light toward the enemy, breaking their lines and protecting the fleet. But the Zelnar were strong and cunning. Their leader, a dark figure named Vrax, appeared on the battlefield. He was powerful and ruthless, and his ship seemed to anticipate every move. Elias realized this would be the hardest fight yet. The battle shifted closer to the Zelnar homeworld. The storms raged below, and the Alliance fleet struggled against the enemy's last defense. Suddenly, Vrax's ship targeted the Aurora, firing a massive beam that shook the ship, shields holding. The crew reported, but the strain was clear. Solara stepped forward, placing her hands on the control panel. Her energy flared wildly, reinforcing the shields. Elias saw the cost on her face. The power drained her quickly. Elias, she said softly, I need to face Vrax, alone. No, Elias said firmly. We do this together. She smiled gently. You are my strength. I will need you. The Aurora closed in on Vrax's ship. Elias and Solara prepared for the final confrontation. Inside Vrax's dark vessel, the Queen and the enemy leader faced each other. Vrax sneered, powerful energy crackling around him. You think you can defeat me? He growled. Solara's eyes shone. I am not alone. Back on the Aurora, Elias held Solara's hand through their bond, sending her strength. The battle was fierce. Solara used the power of the heart of Zira, channeling it through her connection with Elias. Vrax fought with dark energy, but the Queen's light was stronger. Finally, with a burst of energy, Solara broke through Vrax's defenses. He collapsed, defeated. The Zelnar fleet retreated, their power broken. The Alliance cheered, victory finally within reach. Elias and Solara returned to the Aurora, exhausted but victorious. Their bond was deeper than ever, a connection forged in battle and hope. The galaxy was safe, for now. But more than the war, Elias knew they had built something lasting. The bond between a human and an alien queen was more than strength or power. It was the future. And every night, as Solara rested beside Elias, they dreamed of a new galaxy. One where trust and friendship would grow, and no one would have to fight alone. Together, they had changed the stars.